Alright, those of you that follow me know that I did a video on this SS not too long ago. I actually nabbed the keys. I'm going to take it out for a little bit of a spin and record some cool stuff about it, let you guys know my thoughts from actually driving it. Here she is. I drove this a little bit, but I've really been looking forward to actually getting in and putting some time behind the wheel. Alright guys, first thing I notice when I get in is it automatically feels like the seats are going to cup you in place and super comfy. It's going to hold you where you need to be when you're cornering. And there's that growl. I just love the way that sounds when you start it up. Now I've driven a couple sports cars already on this channel. I drove the Camaro 2SS, and I drove the Porsche Cayenne GTS. The thing I like about this car is it's kind of like a sleeper. I mean, it looks like a Chevy car. I mean, there's a couple things about it that are gonna make it stand out over your Malibus and your, your other four-door Chevy cars. But all in all, its styling is a lot just like a Chevy car. But it's a rocket. Everything about the way it sounds and the way it drives screams performance. And not performance in the Porsche or the Camaro kind of way. Performance as in a nobody's going to expect you coming. But the second you leave the line, they're going to hear that growl. And you're going to be undeniable. And you don't even realize you're going that fast because you're not screaming along low to the ground like you are in a Camaro. You're in essentially a Chevy car, a normal four-door sedan, but you also happen to have 400 plus horsepower into the engine. And even at idle, unless you get on that pedal, you sound just like a regular car. Heads-up display is awesome. You have your gauge clusters in a good spot. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I've seen cooler gauge clusters, but this is also a 2014. Something special about these engines is it's a Holden engine. I guess it was an Australian company that Chevy was having built engines for them for a while. And it's a pretty popular engine amongst people who know what they're looking for. But I mean, it is so much fun. I mean, right there, it's just, it wants to pull you back in the seat. I literally felt the weight behind my eyes when I got on it. It's a little foggy in here. Getting a little excited about driving this thing. It's, I'm almost afraid to get on the tectonic shifting or the automatic manual shifting in this thing, just because in drive it's so fast. I mean, unless you're racing, you don't need much more than that. But once I get off the main drag here, I'll put it in a little bit and see what we can do while being safe and not breaking the speed limit. This is one of the cars I wanted to sell to somebody I know just so it'll be around because it's such a cool car. I'm a Chevy fanboy. I think anyone in my family can attest to the fact that I let everybody know when we got this in and how much I liked it. And I was just hoping somebody like, oh yeah, let me come check it out. I wish I had the means to drive it home right now. All right, I'm gonna get off the main drag up here a little bit. And going around corners is, effortless in this thing right now. Even going, accelerating through the corner. There's, I've done that in some cars before, some SUVs, where you kind of feel that bounce like you're about to go up and out. This thing just hugs the road, and we're in less than optimal conditions. It's damp out right now. It was raining earlier. And what's really cool is just by using the paddle shifters that actually moving the actual shifter here in the middle console, it bumps you down. So what happened there was the car was jumping up so quick it outpaced me shifting to where I couldn't actually use the manual shifter. The car accelerated past me. Really, it's just because I'm not used to the vehicle real quick and what it's capable of. Take along a little bit of, so there's the area. I'm actually on the Mud Mountain Dam loop here. And if you can hear that, so the thing about this is I'm not going all that fast when you guys hear that. The way the car's geared, depending on how you're driving and how you're accelerating, it's going to hang on to those gears, which is nice, If I'm not getting into the pedal very much at all, it's just going to, drive like a normal rig. Like right now, it's easily going through the gears, downshifting when it needs to. Not a lot of pull. It's really good for a daily driver. Obviously better for your gas mileage than if it drives like a sports car all the time. But the second that you get into the pedal, the car seemingly knows what you want to do, and it's gonna act as such. It's, I think, designed for someone who wants a car when they need it. A commuter or a grocery getter or a family car even. I mean, tons of space back here. But if they wanted to perform like a sports car, they can have that too. Which is, partly why I really like this car. And if you like using the center shifter, you have that too. I'm kind of partial to that because any of the rigs I've had that were fast, faster vehicles, 240SX, had a couple of them in my day. I had they're all manuals, so I'm more comfortable using a Tectonic manual style shift. I'm going to have to look up what the official name for that is. I'm not going to pretend to know. I just don't know. I'm assuming we always call it Tectonic shifting. That's probably wrong. But I prefer to, shift in my middle console here, as opposed to using paddle shifters up on the steering wheel. Some people really like those paddle shifters, though, which is what I was trying to use, where I was just shifting at all the wrong times. But like I said, even at that, there's no time where I've been wanted power that I couldn't get just from having this thing in drive and letting it do its own shifting. Down the backside of Mud Mountain Dam here, you guys, those of you that know it, handling the corners of the breeze, it's glued to the road. With the breeze, with ease. If you guys have watched this channel enough, you know I tend to do that. Start talking too fast, drag my words together. It's just one of those things. even in a low speed, that was 30 miles an hour, you can just hear that exhaust kick up. Sorry, there's going to be long periods in here. I'm going to have to do some editing, cut it short. This is longer than I normally do, but I really wanted to take this car out. You know, a couple previous ones I've done just from my house to the dealership. This is actually a route that I take people on test drives, because it gives you a little bit of both. You know, you got the straight shot going up 410 towards Mud Mountain, and then you have a little bit of windy riding on the back roads when you come up. When you come back down, rather, back towards the dealership. See, even here, I'm only at 40 miles an hour right now, but it just, it sounds so good. And what's funny is, because of how it sounds, you want to keep it going, right? The sound and the feel, and it all comes together, and it gives you that, those of us that grew up in the 80s in the car culture, it gives us that nostalgic feel. You know, I remember going to Corvette swap meet at the Puyallup Fairgrounds with my grandpa, and hearing his Corvettes and working on them, and the smell of gasoline, and going to the drags at Pacific Raceways, and just, you know, working on cars and having sports cars. And I like electric vehicles. I like newer vehicles. There's something about big engine Chevys. The sound, the feel, the pull on a straightaway, the whole drag race culture that comes back when you get into a vehicle and you have that. It's just hard to match. And what's sad is, nowadays, going to the Corvette swap meet, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller each year. Not seeing as many hot rod classics on the roadways nowadays. Not it's not like it used to be. But this thing right here takes me right back to that when I'm in it and I'm driving. It's nostalgic. What can I say? It's a big engine Chevy that just wants to go fast, and that's something that hard to find nowadays in most of your rigs, especially in this range. You know, you could still buy Corvettes, you could still buy Camaros, you could still buy high-end sports cars. And the great thing about Chevy is their high-end sports cars are still generally affordable, right? But in that $30,000 price range, I think even lower, with this particular one, you're going to be hard pressed to find something that can do what this thing does. I'm a huge fan. That being said, getting back to the dealership, follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/BobAtGamblins. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. All kinds of cool things happen once I hit 10,000 subscribers. If you want to check anything out, anytime, stop by the dealership. Any questions regarding vehicles whatsoever. It doesn't have to be a GM, doesn't have to be a Chevy. If there's any questions regarding vehicles, get a hold of me. Facebook.com/BobAtGamblins. Bobby Martinez at BuyGamblingMotors.com. If you're watching this video, you either found my YouTube or you found my Facebook. You have my contact information on there as well. Stay tuned for more content. Great taking these things out with you guys. I look forward to seeing you again, and stay tuned.